Hello YouTube, it's Tuesday, getting ready for show number 2 at the Union Jack tonight. It's just hard to see what time it is. I got the sun directly behind me shining in my clock. 5:45 p.m. September 21st, 2021. I already got pretty much everything I'm going to use tonight down at the Union Jack, except for my my Jamo subwoofer. Planning on using that one tonight. Of course, I planned on using it last week, and I forgot the power cord. I still haven't found the power cord that I used to keep with it, but Candy loaned me one, so I'll be using that one tonight. So at least I got that covered. I was planning on working on music a little bit there, like kind of getting there a couple hours early and working on music prior to the show, and maybe trying to, you know, kind of talk to people in the bar about, hey, karaoke night, blah, blah, blah. But I can't seem to find where the hell I put my DAC. It's kind of a generic Chinese thing I got off Amazon. I mean, it's got a brand name, but dang if I know what the brand name is or if it's anything I'd ever heard of before. But it had really good reviews on Amazon, and to be honest, I've been really, really happy with the product. It's just a little metal box. I'd say probably about 4 inches wide by about 3 inches deep by about an inch tall-ish. And it's made out of metal. It's got a brushed aluminum face and really a sturdy little audio component. And it has it gets power through micro USB, and then it's got inputs for it's got a USB input as well as a coaxial digital input. I think that's the only kind of. I'm trying to think if it has another kind of input on it. I don't think it has a Toslink. I think it's just the coaxial digital in the USB input. And then it has just RCA outputs left and right. Oh, it also has a headphone jack output. Got a bass and treble knob and a volume knob. Pretty simple little device, but it sounds really, really good. The last show I was using it at was Jay's Cocktails, so I'm not really sure what I did with it after that show ended. I was thinking it was in my storage, but I've looked through my main storage unit and I'm not finding it, so it's either in my storage at my apartment or somewhere in my apartment, so I'm heading back there since I got plenty of time. So generally speaking, I just use the onboard sound on my karaoke computer, which is just an older Dell mini desktop. There's nothing particularly special about the computer itself. I mean, I've highly customized the inside of it for hosting karaoke on. And at some point I may make a video about how I do that. Although I often like to think of it as my trade secret. I don't know anybody who's really put together a machine identical to what I've done for hosting karaoke, and it's very much optimized just for that purpose, and for video DJing as well, of course. Anyway, the place that external, basically there's two things that external DAC has come in really handy for me, and the main thing I bought it for is I've noticed sometimes I get into a place, and I'm assuming it's just dirty power, or it could be I'm having a floating ground issue where some of the components are coming off of one some of them are powered on one electrical circuit, some of them powered on another electrical circuit, and it's just excuse me, or it could be a allergies are kicking today. Could be a polarity power issue as well. But at any rate, every now and then at some places my system hums for no good reason. Everything's grounded properly, everything's hooked up properly, but I get a 60 hertz power hum, and it just nothing makes it go away. And well, I can't say the first place I've ever encountered this. There's several bars over the years I've had to issue at. And generally, I just kind of live with it. And, what I've always done in the past, and I've noticed other people's sound systems have the same issue. Generally, I've just lived with it and try to EQ everything in such a way that it's not very noticeable, and just keep music going at all times, not try to have any dead air, because it's during dead air where you really hear it. As long as there's music playing, it's not, it gets drowned out. It's not like it's a loud hum. But being kind of a perfectionist with my sound, it's something when I have it, I'm just going, always going nuts trying to like make it go away. It's like, why is this stuff still humming? And the first time I ever used an external DAC to solve this problem, it was when I was hosting at the hosting karaoke at Pub Rock, and I just tried something kind of different on a whim to see. Sometimes you just try different ideas, you throw it at the wall, see what sticks, And I've been doing the show for a while, just using the output on my computer, and I was regularly getting hum, and couldn't really figure out, what the source of that hum was. And I tried absolutely everything, and just one time, just on a whim, I was setting up, and I was using my little tripod, my TV on a tripod that I've been talking quite about lately, because I just renovated it, or completely took it apart and painted it, made it look new, made it look nicer. Anyway, that was the first iteration of it, when it had the small TV on it. And that's very relevant that it was a TV and not a monitor, because, of course, I'm sending an HDMI signal to the TV out of all my splitters. With the output of my computer, being that I do have an HDMI out sound card, I can only choose to send my sound over one device, as far as I know, software I have. And generally, I'm always sending it out over the what do you call it? The analog speaker output, plugging that into my soundboard. But in this particular, it is possible to also send the out over the HDMI output, in which case it's just going along with your AV signal on an HDMI to a TV, as if you were hooking up a Blu-ray player or something. And that's what I do when I'm at home and I'm previewing tracks. I just run that HDMI line to my TV, and then the output of my TV feeds my home theater receiver, and bam, I got sound. But of course I'm not trying to mix down a karaoke show in my living room. Oh, sun in my face! Oh my lord! That blinded the hell out of me. So anyway, so back to Pub Rock and my setup at Pub Rock. I had the TV on the tripod at the foot of the stage, and I also had myself set up at the foot of the stage. Now the stage at Pub Rock is rather large. It's and that's sort of a concert venue. I mean, that place totally is a concert venue. They have some pretty major acts perform there. So it was pretty awesome to be doing karaoke on that stage, and I was connected to the same sound system that the bands perform through. So aside from the hum, the sound was phenomenal in there. And I, when I was doing my show with them, when I was doing my show at that bar, there were only two ways to get up on the stage, and it involved steps. It wasn't like it wasn't like at other places where I have karaoke on a stage and you just step on the stage because it's just a few inches higher than the floor. This stage was quite a few feet up, and there was stage monitors at the bottom and a giant subwoofer. You had to either kind of go up the right side or the left side. And generally I encourage people to go up stage right, which is where I was set up. right at the foot of the edge. And of course, they'd pass me. I'd hand them a microphone on the way to the stage. And so that's where the TV was, not far where the TV on the tripod was. It was kind of on stage right, and I kind of kept people. In fact, I tried to keep people on stage right because on stage left was where I had my projector set up. So if you were standing in that part of the stage, kind of kept them in the center to stage right, because stage left was where the screen was. If they walked over there, they'd be blocking the projected image, which isn't what they were looking at. That's what the people that were in the bar would be looking at, kind of behind them and to the right of them. And then, the same person singing, look at the TV. Well, anyway, at one point I was thinking, in fact, I think it kind of happened in accidentally and organically. Because I think what had happened is I had been working on music at my place, so I had the computer on that particular computer. So I already had the computer, like the last time I had used it, I had the sound going out the HDMI, and when I booted, since there was a TV, since there was a TV in the mix, it just by default. Oh, and I just don't think I plugged my audio cable in, and there's this micro switch on the onboard sound on the little mini Dell desktops that you can sense whether you've got something plugged into that or not. Anyway, in Microsoft's Windows plug and play Infinite Wisdom, instead of booting to use the sound on the speaker, for whatever reason, it booted to use the sound on the HDMI. And so I go to start playing music, and instead of seeing, generally speaking, I get the sound going on the board and see my meters, check my levels on my meters before I turn on amps in PAs. And in this instance of being at Pub Rock, it would be before I turned on their house PA. I made sure I had the signal ready to send to it before I turned it on. Well, anyway, I boot up and I start playing some music just to set levels by, and I'm hearing the music coming out of the little at kind of a low volume out of the speakers on the little TV on the tripod facing the stage, and I'm like, oh. And a light bulb is kind of like, it's like, ooh, idea in my head. I wonder how clean the audio is coming out of that TV. And and if my audio cable will reach it, and sure enough, the audio cable reached just fine from my mixer over to my, it reached just fine from my mixer to that TV. And so I plugged it in and ran the sound from the TV, which at this point, I'm functionally using an external DAC. I'm using the DAC in the TV. That's converting the digital coming from the HDMI signal to analog on the TV's headphone jack. And I set the levels on that, and I'm like, wonder if this is actually going to eliminate the hum. And sure as hell it did. So, and kind of my lesson, my life lesson there was that, wow, if I'm by having my audio come from a different source of the computer, where there's obviously more potential issues with hum, I'm not having an issue with hum.
Hi, hurry time?
Yeah, I just want to get 2 of the cheesy bean and rice burritos.
The cheesy bean and rice burritos?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that'll do it for me.
Any sauce?
No thanks.
Okay.
Okay. You have to excuse me. I'm hungry. So, anyway, yeah, so that solved the hum problem. Now, as I explained a while back, that TV did die when I went to do the last Christmas party that I did for Mariposa. I turned that TV on, and I got was garbage on the screen. I didn't have an image. I don't know if there was sound out of it or not. No image. I was done with it, and I wasn't using it, for a DAC at that show, obviously. Anyway, fast forward to mid-2020, in between the first bar shutdown and the second bar shutdown, I had a short-lived show at a karaoke show at Chopper John's in East Phoenix. And the way I did my setup there is I ran my little ran into my board, as I always do, my little Mackie board, I should say always. I'm not doing it tonight, but as I usually do, as I have been doing for years. And then from the output of the Mackie board, I just ran the output of my computer, as per always, into the Mackie board. And then I ran two lines, two XLR lines from the Mackie board into the two inputs of their main board. My receipt, please. My receipt. Thank you. I don't understand why that's something I have to ask for like that now, but it totally is. Anyway, so it was kind of an unusual setup. Usually when I'm running through at a live music venue and I'm running through their sound system like that, their soundboard is quite a distance from where my soundboard is, and I'm usually running the output, or what do you call it? Running the output of my board to a stage snake, which is an input panel on the stage, and then I'm going to where their house sound system is. I'm just bringing up two inputs from the stage snake, panning one hard left, one hard right, or maybe doing kind of a blended, depending on the layout of the speakers of the venue, kind of a blended with the two channels. And then once I get the level, to where everything pretty even and flat there, and once I got that level to where I wanted, I just control everything through my board. But it was unusual at Chopper John's. I was able to set up by where their soundboard was. So I basically had their soundboard to my left, my keyboard and my mouse and my monitor in the middle, and then my soundboard on the right, and my computer sitting behind it. So I was able to actually operate both boards at the same time, which of course begs the question, well, why did I even mess with my board? Because I like it, damn it. I mean, I could have potentially run the whole show through their soundboard. I could have. A part of it stemmed from the fact that it was a board. It was a Yamaha board that I was not very familiar with. I did download the. Wow, I cannot see oncoming traffic at all. I did download the operating manual from the internet just to kind of get a better idea of how to operate the board, since it was something I wasn't as familiar with. But I just figure I'm so 100% comfortable with everything, how it's EQ'd and set on my Mackie, that it was just easier to do all of my stuff that I usually do on that. And at this point, it's like muscle memory. I do that just so tactile. Whereas if I was on a board, when I'm on a board I'm unfamiliar with, it's a lot more, I have to think about it a lot harder, as opposed to just my mind thinking, hey, this needs to go up or this needs to go down, and this needs to be punched up in the lower end, whatever, and I just reach and I do it, it saves that step of, okay, that's what it needs, now how do I do it? I don't have to think about how I do it, I just do it. So yeah, when I went to the anyway, the thing that was actually kind of neat was because I had their stage, and they had house microphones on mic stands, which were always connected to that board. So I had the two inputs that I'm running my soundboard in there, which I didn't really mess with those levels much. I just kind of set them and controlled all that stuff for mine. But it was nice. I had the two additional mics of theirs, house mics on the stage, where I control that board. So it made for a nice setup for me, running the karaoke, and it allowed me to do more with the show. Absolutely love that. But one problem I had there was the hum. No matter what I did, and I did actually try taking my mixer out of the loop and just running my computer directly into their board, and it just absolutely didn't matter. Once I made the connection to my computer, ran an audio cable from the audio output of my computer to either my board or their board, there was hum. Now, granted, it wasn't super loud, but it was there, and that was kind of a loud show. So I mean, if I had any dead air, between songs, it was audible. It was there. I mean, there was a couple of shows where people just would kind of joke. I just made a joke out of it. It's other people would be humming along with it. And it's yeah, I swear to God, I'm gonna sort this out. and the sad thing is, the bars ended up getting shut down by the governor before I had a chance to resolve that. But that's why I ordered an external DAC. That's what I got it for. So That's not what I want it for today. Today I just want it as something to plug in so I can preview tracks before I actually start the show, because the mixer PA that I'm using tonight doesn't have a headphone jack, so I won't be able to do it with that. Anyway, that's what's up with all of that. Thought I'd share that. I'm going home real quickly to look for it. Appreciate you coming with the ride. Come along for the ride with me, and I might do another one as I'm heading up to North Scottsdale.